this is Heidi with America's Meanest Cars, and on today's CarCast, presented by O'Reilly Auto Parts, we have Mr. Sam. Mr. Sam, thank you for being here.
Actually, it's an honor to be here. It really is. And you know, this is one of the things that you want to do, but you want to do it with the right person in the right situations. And I think it is that. So I'm looking forward to this.
I'm super, super excited. What are we in here today? What are we in?
Actually, we're in the Corvette.
The Corvette.
And I've had this thing, gosh, I don't know, 16, 18 years, something like that.
Yeah.
Took it on Rocky Mountain Race Week, and it's not that it's that fast of a car. It's a comfortable car.
It is really comfortable.
AC works on it. The stereo works. Everything works on it. And I know it's got a truck dash. I understand that. But still for this
a truck
year.
dash?
Well, it's kind of like, you know, because they look in Corvettes and they say, that looks like the truck dash.
You know, I had a Suburban, and I loved it. So, and then even we have a Camaro, and so it just feels just so nice and comfortable. So I really enjoy that.
And everything works on it, you know, which, you know, I may crank it up later and nothing work on it, but right now, doesn't owe me a thing, you know.
Yeah.
But I did take it on Rocky Mountain Race Week. It done very good on it. We didn't turn the air on.
I was going to ask you about that because
it
sounded like a decent story here, because Rocky Mountain Race Week is known to be pretty warm.
We started on, and all of my guys that we went with, they were like, oh, you guys are cheating. You got the air-conditioned car. You got this or that. And I said, tell you what, here's what we'll do. I'm not even going to turn it on. So the guy was riding with me. He says, oh, okay. Well, we left Great Bend, Kansas, and was looking at the temperature thing, and it's 104. He said, you sure you done the right thing? Sure. So we got up in the mountains of Colorado later on, and we had the heater on, but throughout the whole thing, we never run the air one time. Not one day. We didn't cheat.
That's commendable, because there's no way I could do that.
It was warm in there.
I always feel pretty sad when I see other people and they've just been drenched in the heat for hours and hours and never getting out of it until maybe the hotel room.
It was pretty warm, and then when it was all over, the guy that was riding with me says, why did we do that? And I said, well, I gave him my word.
Right.
And he said, don't do that again. If we do this again, I said, I don't know. We do it again, we'll hit the AC button on it. So.
Yeah. So would you do like a race week or anything again?
Oh, yeah. Oh,
did you enjoy it? Do you enjoy those type of events?
To me, I mean, the racing's good, but it's not the only, when I say the racing, I'm talking about on the track. It's good, it's not the only thing, but I think the camaraderie of the people that you're with, you can't put a value on that.
Yeah.
Because the situations you get into, I mean, you might go a whole day and no cars break, or you might not even get out of the parking lot and half of them break, but that's the fun of it, you know, and the togetherness, oh my. Because no matter whose car breaks, there'll be 10 other guys that anything we can do, and they'll pull off right there. And it's such a, I don't know, I think that's the part I liked the most about it, was the camaraderie that it causes and it's within. And we honored all of the town's ordinances and stuff, you know, their speed limits and everything. Once in a while, you might have to slip a little bit, not much.
Now, do you pull a trailer on this, or was it just the car?
No, we loaded everything in the back of this.
Oh, my gosh.
Got a pretty good sized trunk. So we loaded everything in. It didn't have a trailer, so I didn't even have a spare tire. I didn't tell him that, you know, the guys riding
So
with
you weren't switching tires or anything? You were just running?
No, just take it and drive it, and then go to the next track. And that's why I didn't do that, you know, and people say, oh, he's looking for an excuse. No, I was just driving a street car. We have street tires at the track, and that's not good, but it done okay. We didn't change any tires. We just pull up, go.
That makes it so much nicer, though, too.
Oh, yeah.
Just like maybe unload your stuff and
well, we took some stuff out and just put it in a big pile sitting behind the car. And then when we get ready to go, like, no tires to change. Put it all back in the car and off we go. It was fun.
That is.
I probably enjoy that. I mean, like I said, the racing's good, but it was, that was kind of nearly an afterthought, the racing, the actual on the track time. But it was the journey to get there.
Yeah.
Oh, my, that was fun.
I know that you've done a lot of stuff with Cleetus and all of that. Is there an event that like you really enjoy out of all the stuff that you've done with that? One that like really stands out? You
know, our home track is great, but for some reason, every year when we go to World Cup, you know, which is in Maryland, it's usually pretty cold, but you know, we brave it and go on. But that crowd that comes to there,
I mean, it looks insane. Just massive and just very energetic.
That crowd that comes to there, they're as all hot rodders are, seems like, great bunch of guys. I mean, good competitors, don't get me wrong. I mean, they'll fight you tooth and nail to the last tenth, you know. But if you need something, they're right there. But it's just that whole aura of the event there. It is so great. Oh, my.
That's one that I keep missing, and it's been a good couple of years now that I've missed out.
It'd
so
be
this
worth
year,
your time to kind of set that one aside to see, let me see what this is all about. It's, you know, we went 2 or 3 years ago, and I thought I was going to freeze to death. Then year before last, they said it was hot. Of course, to me it wasn't hot. I still had a hoodie on. And then last year it was nights pretty cold. I mean, just this past one. The night was cold, but the day it was livable. You could hustle a little bit and stay warm. And we had such a good time. My goodness. It's just I don't know, it's not about the race, but it is about the race. They had us a fantastic parking place. We're right next to the track, and they treat us very nice there, very nice. So I don't know that it's my favorite track, but it's probably my favorite event to go to.
Yeah.
You know, this year's going to be the Texas 2K was in Houston.
Right.
Of course, that track now is
Storage
industrial
units,
warehouses or storage units or whatever. So it's going to be in Dallas at Ennis. It's going to be good. So now that I've dared my daughter to come out, it's because they live in Dallas. Oh, Dad, we'll come over there. Yeah, okay, come on.
Nice. Now, I've seen a lot of your current cars, but what was your first one?
Oh my goodness, my first car?
Your first car?
Actually, it was a truck.
Okay, what was
your
your
It was a 49 Chevrolet truck. And then, you know, there's not a lot of value on those trucks as there is now. It was a true 5-window. And I got it for, then.
Do you remember how much you paid?
Yeah, I do. $250. And that was a king's ransom at that time. It's like, man, that's so high. $250. Well, anyway, but it's a 5-window, a little 3-speed on, or you know, 3 on a tree, so to speak, and had like, I think it's a 230 or a 235 6-cylinder, something like that too. And it done fine. It got me back and forth to where I wanted to go, and then sold it. And now look at them now. Oh my, you got a 5-window now. Oh, pretty expensive. But that was my very first vehicle, if you will. Yeah. And it just kind of fit in, you know. Was raised on a farm, and naturally you'd have a truck, you know, you could, a multi-purpose vehicle, haul stuff in it, haul yourself around. But the cabs on it, have you ever been in one? I mean, the cabs on them are like, when you're here, it's like, okay, we're taking up the whole cab. There's 2 people in it. But they're fun little trucks, fun trucks on it, yeah. And I see a couple of them at shows now, fixed up. Ooh, they're,
really
expensive,
cool.
Very expensive. But that was my first, and it was green in color, forest green, or whatever the factory color was. I think it was forest green. And it just kind of fit right in, you know. And when you went to school, well, there was other old trucks like that there. So you just kind of fit in, you know. We didn't know the value of none of that stuff. I mean, it wasn't value like it is now.
Absolutely not. Things have kind of skyrocketed, and it kind of hurts your heart to see sometimes. But
look at and then after that, I had a couple of 55 Chevrolets because they were kind of cheap at that time, and they're not now, of course. But at that time, but a lot of that stuff, you know, had a 54 Ford in there, which 2-door with a 6-cylinder and had 3 on the tree. Now that was a $100 car because the guy just wanted to get rid of it on thing, and he said, "Well, give me $100 and you can have it." Okay, so I took it, and it ran, done fine. And now that you look back on those, you think, my goodness. If you had the money, you'd buy, well, it's one of them things, you know, if you had the money, you're sure you'd bought a barn for it.
Oh, absolutely. But then you don't know at the time that it's going to be like that, so you just kind of don't.
And you didn't have the money anyway.
Yeah.
It's like, goodness sakes, you know, during the muscle car era, if you'd had the money, just bought a warehouse full of those things and set them up.
Oh, yeah.
But you didn't, and, you know, the money was just as tight then on certain things as it is now. But
Did you always enjoy things automotive, or
oh gosh,
did it? Okay.
You know, where I grew up, there was a racetrack about 15 miles from my house. And it was called the Asheville-Weaverville Speedway. And then it was a dirt track. And it was out of red clay mud or red clay dirt.
Ooh.
And that stuff, whew. And my mom would say, don't you boys go to that racetrack, you know? No, we're not going. And we'd come home, or I'd come home, you know.
You couldn't hide that.
You'd come home and she'd say, been to the track, didn't you? Yes, ma'am. Oh, you had that red dust all over you, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And then they paved it, and it was a little easier then. But it was a half-mile track, and it was a pretty nice track. But, you know, got into the noise ordinance thing, and after a while they shut it down. And now there's a high school there. It's kind of like the Houston thing has got warehouse storage and stuff
now
on
you
it.
have a high school.
Well, this has a high school now. But I had the interest in those things. And got to work for some, there's a guy up there that built cars called Banjo Matthews. Well, he's dead now, but at the time built cars. And to get to go to work for him was really something. So I made application to him, and I said, I'll sweep that floor. And he says to me, you probably wouldn't even make a good floor sweeper. I said, well, I'll try. So I got to work for him, and then I got to work for two engine builders. They were they were my trainers. One was Fred Miller, and one was Ben Barnes. And Ben Barnes built a lot of engines for guys that ran down the river, a little track down there. Mm-hmm. And he built engines for the Iron Man, Jack Ingram, you know, who was, that guy was kind of the king of the round tracks on them small tracks. But that was two of my engine trainers, and a long time ago. I mean, I can say old because I am old, but that was two good trainers.
So you just started more at like sweeping, and then moved on to engines, and then
went
all of the.
Because he said, your curiosity on the thing. He said, why are you so curious about all this stuff? I said, because what I want to do, you know. And at the very time when I started there, the very first sweeping the floor for him, they were building, get this, flathead Fords. Now that goes back a ways. Somebody in this video is going to say,
they're going to date you.
They're going to say flathead. They say, we know how old that guy is. Well, that's okay, I can tell you, but at flathead Fords, and then they got in, you know, Chevrolet came out with the overhead valve V8 in 1955 with a 265, and then of course everybody followed suit. But that was back in very, very early days on it. So now then y'all know that guy's ancient. Son, he's 100 years old. Not quite.
No, you're spry and you're running around doing all sorts of crazy stuff.
We have a good time.
All the time. I always see you with like just shining everything around you. There's not one car around you that looks dirty, ever.
You know, they meaning Cleetus, has given me an opportunity to, I don't know, it's just one of them things. 5 years ago, someone had said, okay, here's what you're going to be doing 5 years later. I said, there ain't no way. And with just the introduction of that person into your life, boom. And thank yous, I know, are cheap. I understand that. But, I mean, what more can you say? It's just, that guy has such, I don't know, when you mention something on it, bang, there you go. But that's how because someone's going to say, well, how'd you get your start in this? That's really, that guy really gave me the start, if you will, you know, or the opportunity, whatever you might want to call it. And from that, it's just like, as they say, the rest is history, but it was such a privilege. And
how did you end up meeting? Because, I mean, we're in your house right now, and we have the Freedom Factory that's pretty dang close to us right now.
I had a business downtown. Me and a friend of mine from Indiana opened up a car care products business because we couldn't find good products to buy in the market, so we just made our own. And that's a short story to a long many, many years there. Well, we had probably, that was at the end of 1988, and then we made products for, well, they still make them today, the company does. And we sold the company to these people who wanted to buy it. Well, my next door neighbor asked me, he said, well, what are you going to do now? And I said, well, I just tinker around with my own cars, you know. Mm-hmm. And he said, well, you ought to go over to shop sometime and talk to us over there. Over to shop, meaning over to Cleetus's place. So I did, and he was talking to me about what I did, and I told him. Mm-hmm. He said, well, how about doing one for us? And guess which car I done? Ruby.
Oh.
Ruby.
Yeah, yeah.
So he was away for a couple of days. When he came back, I had done it, and I said, "What do you think?" And he said, "Wow, didn't know that." So I done another car for him, and then he said, "Well, maybe you ought to be on the team." And I said, "Is that an invitation?" "Well, kind of." And I said, "I'll take it if it is." So that's really kind of how it went.
Kind of, yeah.
And so if it's shinable, both in metal and paint and whatever on the thing, I'm on it. That's what I do. And it is a true privilege to get to be with those guys because they've got some real tradesmen. I mean, those guys are great at what they do. I mean, they're fantastic.
I think there's something about being with people that are just like-minded, hardworking, and I feel like it has a tendency to kind of inspire you and do more and better.
Makes you want to do your best.
Yes.
Because they, you know, you hear the phrase kind of worn out a little bit about striving for perfection. Mm-hmm. Well, I understand that, but you know, some of the stuff that we do in this racing world, you better be pretty close to perfect. Because if not, you're going to break apart, and then your boss is going to say, "What are you doing?"
Right.
So they do. I mean, from the fabrication end of it, which the guy is fantastic, to the mechanical end, those guys are, I mean, there's just second to none. And then even George, down to all of our videos and stuff, he's right. So I have to give the team a big thumbs up. And I know this is not about the team. It's not what the video is. But I have to give the team a big thumbs up.
Absolutely.
Because they're good. And it is a privilege to get to be on that with them.
Do you feel that there's something specific that has pushed you into doing something because of being around them? Have you gone after something or?
Yeah, this is, and this sounds a little Pollyannish, maybe sugar-coated, but it isn't. Don't take it that way. You know, when you reach your expiration date here on Earth, it's okay to leave money, probably. But you know, money is spent pretty quickly, and people begin to wonder, should have left more. Well, because they just spend it, because they didn't gain it, so they don't place a value on it. But now, what I really want to leave is some sorts of a legacy. Mm-hmm. Meaning, the knowledge that you have, try to transfer that to someone or someone's, so that that's a continuum. And they don't have to put my name on it. I don't care about that. It's just, if you have the knowledge of what I'm trying to show you and teach you, that does it right there, you know. And people are going to say, "Oh, like to teach a guy how to fish." Well, you can put it to that. But the guys in the, quote, detail world, which we're all in that, I mean, when you get around to doing a job, until you finish the details of that job, now that doesn't mean buffing the car. It's the detail of the job down to the most minute way you can do it is how you get it to do what you want it to do. Well, it's the same in mine. And I want to, it's not necessarily to show someone the only way, because there's many ways to do it. And I tell them, this way I've got the results that I wanted, and just to give you an idea. And it's how to. That's what I'm trying to transfer is how to do these things on it. Right. Or how I've done them that gave me the results that I was looking for.
Yeah.
And it's not about product sales. I mean, I'll show you the products that I use, but that's not really what it's about. It's about when you've got this in your head of what to do. Your products are out there. If the product does what they say on the label, you've got the knowledge to use it, well, you're okay.
Right.
Now you can evaluate the product on the thing, because up until that point, someone tell you a product does this, you don't know whether it does or it doesn't. Be like, I don't know.
And you probably won't even have anything to fully compare it to if you don't have the knowledge to make it to begin with.
Excellent point. Because if you don't, one looks like the other, has about the same wording on it as the other. You say, well, they're all the same.
Yeah.
No, there's a difference. What
yeah.
Is that place in
so you have to kind of have an understanding of what you're looking for to even be able to tell if it's good or not.
No, you summed it up very good. I mean, it's well worth remembering. It's kind of like being lost. How can you be lost if you don't know where you are to start with? So if you got on the products, I mean, you can have them all laid out there, and you say, okay, there they are. Yeah, well, what do we do? What if you don't have here to put that to use? And after you put it to use, now you can truly evaluate the product on it. And it'd be the same with any product on it. If someone put a claim on a product and you say, I don't believe that.
Right.
And so you put it to use, you put it to the test, and you're like,
understandable.
That's not so. I think I might have mentioned to you that when Rick and I were doing our business, you go to the bank and you want to borrow money, and you got good intentions, you know. You're not gonna skip out on your stuff, you know. But the bank doesn't see it that way. They're like, well, you know, if you had money, we'd loan you money. That's really the bottom line. And you're thinking, I don't have money. That's why I come to you to borrow money. Well, he and I both had some pretty nice cars in our collection, so we just sold them to raise money for the business, which we did. And then, you know, just a few months later, after the business got really kicked off, here come the bankers. Hey, you guys need to borrow some money? No.
Now, what cars did you have in that collection that you had sold off?
Gee, I had what I call the Mercedes hot rod. That was a little E55 AMG. That thing was so quick. It's a small version, you know, and had a 930 Porsche, you know, the 87 model, the one with the big tail on it, you know. Had a 65 Corvette, a 67 Camaro, and it was a big block car with a turbo 400. Had the one little single ladder bar on it, and people say, "You sure?" Oh yeah, look it up. And then I had a Buick Grand National. Just a whole conglomerations of cars, and I had a Supra too. Had a red Supra, a '94 model. And you think, wow, they were nice cars. Yes, they were. And it was parting was such sweet sorrow as they go out the driveway. You think, oh, geez, why did I do that? And had a 55, but sold those to raise money for the business to go and grow. And with the intention, with each one that left, saying, okay, I'll get one of those back, either that or better than. And that's really what I've been doing the last few years, is to have something, not that it was such a nostalgic thing on it, but I had those cars because I enjoyed them.
Right.
Well, that's, you know, some of them I have back, not the same car.
Because now you have the Super back, you have the Grand National.
The Corvette here now, it's not the same year, I understand.
Right.
But the mid-years have went so, man, I mean, they're out of reach now. So this one here does fine. It does just good. And
enough where you enjoy it and it's fun to drive.
Man, yeah, you can ride this around with the AC on, drive it in the rain. We could drive the other one in the rain, but that thing would, you know, I'd put new seals around that, and they were famous for leaking. And right where the door shuts up here, when it rained, you got wet with it. Whether you had the window up and the door closed, it didn't rain in there with you. And someone on the thing's going to say, oh, but I fixed mine where it didn't leak. Well, good for you. That's great. But mine leaked. I had new seals in it.
You just can never get it to not.
No, it just leaked, you know. But
so now does this not have any leaks in it? You don't have to deal with that. So
no, no leaks in this one here, no.
I feel like you came on top winning.
You just roll the window up on the thing, down the road you go. It's like, oh, AC works, the heater works if you need it, the stereo works, they even got a disc in here and everything, all the good stuff. So, and then I've got, you know, a lightning back. So a lot of the, and I had a Camaro, well, a 67 Camaro. Well, I just went one step further and got a 69 model Z28. So got that. So it's, oh, I don't know. It's after you, when you get rid of it because you want to get rid of it, that's one thing. But when you get rid of it because you had to get rid of it for something,
that can be a little bit of
that causes a different feeling. You know?
Yes.
So it's.
Is there one out of there that you wish you just would not have gotten rid of? That you'd like to have that one 100% back exactly as it is?
Gosh, there's three, and I don't know. I'll have to put them in
Okay,
I'll have to put them
well, let's go in order. We'll go the least one.
Okay.
We'll go
okay,
3 to 2.
We'll do from least to the greatest. The least would have been the 87 Porsche, the 930. Then the next one would have been probably the Grand National. Grand National or the Camaro, one of the two. And then the one that I hated the most on the thing was the 55.
Oh.
And it was, you know, when you get those cars fixed up like you want them, well, they're a joy to
So
drive.
that was all complete and good and...
Yeah, it was good. Oh, it had a real DZ 302 block in it with a 4-speed. Had a 373 gear in the rear and all like this, you know. And it was a 2-seater car because I just done at the time it's called rolled and pleating. Well, that was what was done in the back. You know, there wasn't no back seat in it. Had a little platform you could sit on. And then it was basically just a 2-seater with a 4-speed and that DZ. It was a fun car to drive. You could just crank it up and go anywhere you wanted to. But this one here will be a lot of the same. It'll be a 2-seater. And
so it's a 55 Chevy. That's what you got right now that you're building and making it
It'll have a
beautiful.
Roadster shop frame, have an LT motor in it. It's going to have a LT with a 10-speed. It's got a 9-inch Ford in it with a I think it's a 360 gear. So it'll just be a good, fun, round-town car. I mean, it goes to the drag strip some, yes, but it's not its intent to be that. Its intent is to be like on the drag and drives. That's what I really want. And to a weekend car.
Right.
And you know, I'm close to Mexico here. You know, it's only like 10 miles away, you know. On those times where you had to say, hey, we'll take this thing to Mexico. Well, it is, yeah. Okay. 10 miles away, and there you are. Close to the border. You probably have got that out.
Maybe it might just be a disclaimer.
You'd be like, disclaimer, he's not close to Mexico. Correction.
You know, actually, Florida and Mexico are really close, right? Right? Kind of go like that.
Yes. There you go. Yes, like
just have to cross an ocean.
You just got to go across when you go across the Gulf of Mexico. Whoosh, there you go. I guess technically,
Gulf of Mexico.
When you go into the water.
There we go.
Okay, all right.
You're close to Mexico.
Very, very, very close. Very close.
See, we make it work.
People saying, you guys are making it up as you go. No. The Gulf of Mexico is right over there.
Yeah, you just have to find your way to work around it. And I think we made a pretty good way to work around it.
It's good.
Oh, it's so great.
I like it.
How long till you think you have your 55 done? What's the
I set
goal
myself
time?
And it sounds a little wide open, but time goes by pretty quick, especially when you get my age. It's like I had 3 birthdays this year. I've put myself in 24. I want to have that car driving, and when I say driving on the thing,
so you're not so much worried about it fully being pretty, just drivable.
You know, I've had a couple of trailer queens, and boy, they're aggravating. You're like, oh, she don't. Oh, a speck of dust got on there. Everything I got now. I mean, this car here, it's a nice car, but if you get caught in the rain, you're caught in the rain. The Supra, you get caught in the rain, you get caught in the rain. And the 55 is going to be the same way. You get caught in the rain.
Well, I mean, if you don't have, sometimes it's just fun when you have a car to drive it, and that's the intent, is to drive it.
That's the whole intent of that car.
That's not saying that trailer queens aren't good and that they don't have their purpose too, because that is also super fun. But having a car and driving is so great.
Oh, and that makes it much more fun, because someone will say, when we're out, you're going to bring such and such a car? Sure. It's supposed to rain, Okay. Yeah. I don't want to go in the snow. Now, I mean, that just... bad, but rain, whatever. Well,
recently we actually joked on my Instagram that my 2016 Scat is our winter car. My husband daily drives it just about all days of the year. And we had a pretty good snowstorm, and it was just iced over, and it made it all the way home. It did the traction, everything actually did really, really good on it. Getting up the driveway almost didn't happen.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, my.
And it's not like crazy steep or anything, but yeah, almost didn't make it back in the garage.
That is great.
And it's just iced, and you can see the splatter, and yeah.
I like when people send me pictures of those things, of the snow and the ice and all like that. It's good. It's great. I'm happy for you. Please don't bring any down here with you.
Not a snow person.
I grew up in snow and ice, and it's different. Very different.
It's different. You prefer being in the warmth of Florida?
Yeah, that's why I moved down here.
Yeah.
And it's just, I remember probably the final, I guess it was the final, the straw that broke the camel's back, so to speak, whatever, was I went out one morning, I lived in North Carolina, I went out one morning, and the car that I had, you pull the door handle up like that, and I think those handles might have been made out of a pot metal or something like that. It was 16 below zero. I pulled that thing up, and the door just went, and the door handle flew right off of it. It just broke, I said, okay, that's it. I'm going to Florida. Well, it wasn't a day. It was just, so I started getting everything together right then, and moved down here. And I said, I'm staying here. And all my family, they're still there. All my sisters like, what's the matter with you? I said, I'm telling you, I've had enough of the cold weather, and they still live there. And I tease them, and when we're in the winter here, and they're in the winter, I say, I'll call them up and say, hey, what are you guys doing? You're just calling to rub it in. No. So, we're going racing. What are y'all doing? That scraping noise you hear is shoveling the snow or scraping the window.
And where is this exactly?
In North Carolina.
North Carolina.
Yeah, it's in It's a few miles outside of Asheville, you know.
Okay.
Which it's in the mountains there where they live, and it gets cold. Oh my! And someone's going to say, "Oh, not as cold as up in North Dakota or Kansas." No, I understand that. I understand.
Cold
but,
enough.
You know, when you get down under 32, ain't it all the same?
Pretty much.
I mean, 32 is 32, you know.
Mm-hmm.
People say, "Oh, it's a dry cold." Okay, it's still 32.
I will say though, dry cold versus.
Oh, it's different.
It's a different.
It is different.
It is different.
Yeah, yeah. When you get the high humidity 32.
No, thank you.
It's like
not my jam.
Here in the summer here, when you have 85 degrees and the humidity is about 83, it's like, whew. Yeah, it's like swimming. You know, you're just swimming through the air. It's so thick. Yeah. But part of the things you have to put up with to come to here is the traffic and the summer weather. But that's okay. I'll put up with it. Traffic.
Do you have to deal with a lot of bugs and snakes? That's always something I'm...
Not so much snakes on it.
Oh, good.
You get a lot of people talking about snakes, but
That's one thing I'm terrified of Florida. That I'm going to get it. Yeah.
No. I mean, if you get down the Everglades and the swamps,
okay,
you'll get into that. But out here...
You don't deal with that so much?
I mean, that's... Once in a while you might see a black snake, you know, or something like that. But and the ones that are in Florida are going to say, "Oh, you've not been out here." I know. We're in the city here. We're in the city. And... You'll have an occasional snake of some kind, but a black snake, and everybody, and to call it rat snakes or non-poisonous stuff, you know.
Yeah.
And but like any place else, we all got spiders. They got spiders in any state you go to, you know.
Yep.
I'm not a big fan of spiders, but
nope, me either. None of that.
So you're not a big snake
So
fan?
do you ever have to deal with any of that stuff with your cars? Because it looks like not a lot of issues in there.
Now I will say this: next door. Well, no, 2 doors over. If it's still here, I'll just show you this pile down there. The lady has some ducks.
Ducks?
She had 3. Now, notice
Had.
There's.
Yep.
Now she has 2. Because this bobcat came in and got a duck right down there. And it had evidently got it over here and dragged it over to there and finished it off. And there was this great big pile of feathers over there. I said, "Oh, my," I saw it on the camera. There it was. Now she has 2 ducks. So here, but there's a few bobcats, but they're as scared of you as you are of them.
Yeah.
I mean, they're not coming around to the human side of things.
But none of that seems to affect anything, which is also kind of good.
And there's so much housing that's moved out this way that all of the wildlife is kind of going further east.
Because I know growing up where we did, and it was definitely a bit more rural, we had dealt with a lot of like pack rats and different stuff along those lines, but nothing seems to get in anything. And
no, there's that I know of here. There's no any rats
issues
of any kind. There's no issues that I know of. I know in some places, like rats will get in, and for whatever reason, they like to chew on wire that's in there. Oh, now you'll find some of them. It's bzz, okay, it took them out, but they're eating on the wire and insulation. I don't know what it is about that. Maybe the fiberglass doesn't affect them like it does humans. I'm not sure. So,
are you a fan of doing electrical work, or do you like doing more of the engine building and?
Oh my, the engine building is it. You know, I'm not a tuner. We got some good tuners that I call on for that, but the engine building, oh my, I really like that.
That hits those heartstrings.
Oh my, and I've got machines for it now. It's just, and now I'm not going to do it on a production basis on a thing, but for myself and maybe a couple for our guys over there, or for somebody just need to bottom in and put together whatever, yeah, that'll do. Because it is, to me, you can get out there and just while away the hours on it and get it exactly like you want it. But that's close to my heart there. Oh yeah, that's wow, my goodness, yeah. If there's one thing to say, what would you, if you're just sitting down, you can only do one activity, and what would that be? It'd be engine building, yeah. I mean, polishing's fine, but the engine building, oh my.
Because I think most people would think that that's where your love is the polishing and stuff, but it seems very much that it's
probably, as long as you're upright and good and mobile and all like that, yeah, the polishing. But if someone said, okay, you got to restrict your activities, which I hope it never does, and we're going to put you in this confined area, well, then we'll build engines. So I like that. Oh yeah. And then you can put them on a dyno somewhere and see. Okay. Now, some of these guys that you're going to build them for, they bring you back a whole basket full of pieces. That didn't work. Boom.
Do you like the aspect of like finding stuff when it's wrong, or do you like just building something that's new?
Both, yeah. You know, you can, I'll get a couple in sometimes that someone say, okay, it does this, or the oil pressure's this, or whatever on it. And I only do them for a select few. And you think you might know what it might be, but then when you take it apart, they, I'm glad I didn't put my opinion on that because that wasn't what it was. And, you know, anymore, the tolerances from the factory are so good. Oh, my man. Now, used to, they were a little, like you'd have a lot of taper on your crank pins. But now, they're pretty straight. But that's, if there is a secret love, that's it, yeah.
I don't know if that's so much a secret, though.
Just
not maybe the number one that when they think of you, that's what comes to mind.
Now, they see me usually with a buffer or spray wax or something like that. Like, okay, is that all he does? No. You know, but do I love to do it? Oh, when we go to an event, that's all I want to do. Because, you know, you don't have time to build an engine there. But when we go to an event.
Can you imagine?
Oh, gee, don't tell Cleetus that. He's going to say, oh, you want to do it?
You want to do it on the road? No, I'm good.
I put you in the trailer. While we're going, I put you in the trailer.
We'll just like strap you in.
We
got you.
We'll strap you in somewhere you can't fall over. Okay, yeah, I got you. Thanks, I appreciate that. Yeah. Oh my. But no, when I'm at an event, all I want to do is shine and polish and that sort of thing. Now, sometimes I'll do some if I'm plumb out of something, and they want do something mechanical. I'll do it. But for the most part, it's the preservation of the finishes and all on. Yeah, I like that, big time. But if it's something stationary here and we don't have any to do. Give me an engine. That'd be great. So that's my two loves there, I think. Yeah. It's not tennis or golf. Them's okay, and no slam to them. Don't get me wrong. But, you know, I do play, or have played golf, and do play some golf. But, man, you got to dedicate a whole day to it. Because if you just, we're just going around for a quick 18 or a quick 9. If it's a quick 9, that's half a day. It's a quick 18, that's a full day. Thereabouts, you know. So,
right.
And you're saying, well, you can take a little time off. To me, polishing a car, that is time off. I mean, that's a relaxation thing. It really is. And that's not a...
I mean, there's a level of like satisfaction and stuff to it too.
Oh, big time. That's not a commercial. It's just satisfying, you know, to take something that's beyond whatever, only think, okay, we'll bring it back. But now there's some I can't do anything with. Oh yeah, you see those, and Cleetus sometimes gives me some for a joke. Say, hey, can you fix that? No, it's a paint shop deal or a grinder or whatever. No, and when they hit the wall with one, no, that ain't gonna buff out. That'll have to be a grinder there. So, but that would be my two. When I'm on the road to these guys or at our track here, even if it'll shine, I want to do it. But if I've got time to do it here. Let's do an engine here. Yeah.
I can
Maybe
see
we'll
that.
film one of those one time.
Yeah,
I mean,
let's do it.
That'd be pretty boring. You'd say, that's boring.
No, I enjoy it. I'm not super mechanically inclined because that's never been something that I've pushed into.
Okay.
But over the past few years, it's been so cool to see all the people around me that I want my knowledge to be better in order to understand that. And I feel like it's continued to grow, which is cool. But yeah, I could do that.
Oh, I guarantee you do very well at it because you know what questions to ask relative to the subject matter, because you may plead ignorance now on the thing, but you know a whole lot more.
I know a little bit more than what.
You know a whole lot more than what you're letting on, because when we would get down to it,
you're around so many, like we're around so much drag racing and. I mean, that's probably the main stuff, but you deal with so many different things that come into it, and you catch words and phrases and different things that you go, oh, I know exactly what you're talking about there. Have you tried this?
I've seen that before. It's like, you know, whether it's an engine for a round track or an engine for a drag racer, you have so many similar parts and stuff. You know, you got your long block, short block, you got rods, pistons, cranks, all like that. Now, setups are different for different applications on it, yes. But in essence, a piston's a piston. Now, really, well, that opened up a can of worms there. No, it ain't. A Honda won't fit that. No, I'm talking about, say, if you got a piston over here in this one, it has certain things it has to do and be, and a piston over in this one has to do the same thing it has to do and be. and the rings and everything that goes with that. But it's still a piston rod combo that you have in there with the rings and everything. That'd be, but that's, I guarantee that when you would have everything laid out, you'd look at it and you'd say, yeah, I know what that is. You may not have to proclaim it, but you would know it.
I know enough to get me in trouble with it for sure.
That's good. So you know enough to be. Yeah, I can be dangerous right now in a heartbeat on it.
Yep. Burnouts, got you.
But the thing of it is, I like curious people. When I say curious people, ones that will ask a question really relative to the subject. You know, like when I'm doing either when I do classes or when I'm doing an actual automobile or whatever, and someone asks a question, not just to be cute or to say, oh, let me get in a conversation, but that you can tell they really want the information of what you're doing. Now that I like. You know, I'm willing to put me into that and say, okay, here's what you have, and it's not, like I said, it's not to push a product. Say, okay, what I have found in these situations is this, and what this might work, that, and here's kind of the sweet spot of what works on these things. And does it always work out? No, you put the 80-20 rule on it. You know, 80% of it takes in 20% of it, fits 80% of what you got. So I'd probably in the last 5 years or so that I've got to be in with these guys so much is, you know, we abuse these cars. I mean, to say the least, we abuse them. Oh my goodness. And the finish is like, okay. But it's, some of it will come back out. Some of it we have to visit a painter. You know, because it's like, oh, that ain't going to buff out. That ain't buff now. We're going to have to, okay, get it refixed or repainted and cleared. Yeah. So that's ambling on there a little bit about it, but it's one of the things that if you woke me up at night and say, okay, give me the 2 things you enjoy most. Okay, paintwork, detailing, and engine building. Okay, go back to sleep. That. So
that's your.
It wouldn't be golfing or bicycling or none of that. I mean, those things are fine, but it wouldn't be that. It'd be many other things on it. So those 2 are. Oh my, that's close to my heart. And do I have some to do? Yeah, I didn't show you the little machine shop I got at the house, but I will. And I've got some lined up in there to do. And it's one of those of a night when you finish up with whatever you're doing, you think, okay, I've had a little relaxation time. Oh, and I don't own a television, so I don't watch TV.
I was gonna say, I was literally just thinking that is I don't think I remember seeing a television anywhere in your.
I don't own one. I don't think so. You're like, okay, what are you gonna do? Well, you can listen to the radio. Well, you can do other stuff when you listen to the radio. So, if I go out there.
Do you read?
Oh yeah, big time.
What do you read?
I'll show you when we go down all of this. I mean, I like to read about engines, tolerances.
Yeah.
And especially metallurgical books. Oh my. Yeah. That's
So a lot of light, easy reading to do.
Yeah, you know, you figure like on a 1019 steel, what is that? You know, and a 1020 or 4340. What makes that what it is? What does it do what it does? And why do you use it for this or that on the thing? It's to know why. Well, that's what I taught in school was metallurgy, but it's such a subject, and the further you go, the deeper it gets you. It's like water. It's like, okay, we keep going, we're going over our head.
So you read about all the fun stuff to learn more about it?
Yeah, and then to put it into application. Like when you, and some of the engines that are coming out now, like BMW has a block out, and they've had it for years. It's called a high silicon block. And you say, well, what does that mean? The grain structure in that bore, like in your cylinder bore, I mean, look at the wear or lack of in a BMW block. It's like, that thing didn't wear any and had this or that. And it's their technology of the materials that they use at the starting up of it. And I like to read about that stuff as to why do we do what we do and what does it cause? You know, what has Chevrolet done, what's Ford done, what's any of those done for longevity of the product? Because back in the early days, back in the 50s and 60s, if a car got to 100,000 miles on the engine, like, okay, that one's done, get that one out of here. And now then, somebody say, oh, it just broke in, it's got 125,000. Yeah, it's okay. Like on a lot of your LS stuff, you know, you see them advertised, only 180,000 miles. Like, only. And they do fine. They do fine.
Well, I feel like I saw something recently where your truck has a lot of miles on it.
Oh, that black truck that you saw
Yeah.
inside?
Yeah.
Has 750,000 miles on it. I bought that thing new at a dealership here in town.
And what is it again? What year?
It's a 2000 Chevrolet Silverado 1500. And I bought that thing new down there. And I came home, and I had already ordered that K&N filter for it.
Yep.
Well, at that time, I don't know if it still do it or not, it had on it the million-mile oil filter, or air filter, not oil, air filter. I thought, I wondered. Well,
Took it as a challenge?
That wasn't the whole basis. I thought, well, that'd be a challenge. So now then, someone asked me the other day, said, you really going to try that? And I said, we still got it on there. Sure, why not? So I drive that in quite a bit, and it's one of them comfortable. You mentioned
How do you even get that many miles on a single car when you have so many? Do you just drive it on the daily, or do a lot of road trips?
A lot of it's daily, but a lot of it's road trips.
Okay.
Very well summed up. You know, we had, I say we, in our business, when Rick and I had our business on it, we were talking about how to expand the business. You know, what do we need to do? And he said, I think we ought to go into the marine industry. And I said, that's good. So we developed these products, both in the compounds and, the whole line of marine products. And he says, okay, now how are we going to do this? Well, at the time, that's quite a few years back, I said, well, let's go on the road with it. So I did. I took that truck, and guess where I went to? I started off in Washington State.
Okay.
And then worked my way
back.
Now, I'd be on the road 2 or 3 weeks and then come back and refresh, reload for a week or so, and then go back. And I've done that for 3 years. And I've done New England area, all of it. It took me 3 years. But it's a business that still goes on with that company today. And now that's a lot of miles. And it was in that.
And that was the truck.
Back and forth.
Oh my gosh.
And it's been a faithful servant. Now I may crank it up now and it fall apart when I turn the driveway, but
we can say as of right now it's doing great.
As of right now, it does fine. So it don't put,
knock on
don't push it like
wood,
but it does fine. It really does. So I'd like to achieve that milestone of 1 million miles on it.
That would be pretty cool.
And Chevrolet will probably say, yeah, okay, good for you. It would be nice to do it and just to have it, because on the old odometers, when you got to 100,000, it went over and you were back at zero. But now on these, at 1 million, it'll do that. So now that I'd like to have it to where when it gets up, say somewhere in the nines, is to get someone maybe from Chevrolet to, hey, let me just put you aware of this on it. Of course, they have to verify. And right now it's still got the original serpentine belt on it. Now I keep an extra one underneath the seat
just in case. When you're running on the 700,000 miles, you would kind of hope. I changed
the transmission at 125,000, and it's still got this one in it. And it's a General Motors transmission I put in it. I put either 2 or 3.
Maybe it's more based on your driving skills than.
Well, I towed a lot with that truck too. I towed a bunch with it. But yeah, and I've been pretty hard on it, but I've not, slammed it. I've been hard enough on it. Nowadays you got out on the road to keep up with traffic. Yeah. You're going to be, So.
Well, as kind of a final question.
Tell me.
Okay. What is something that you have going for you in 2024 that you're pretty excited for?
Oh, I'm glad you asked. Several. Let's start at the top. I want the 55 to be a driver. Not pretty. Not December 31st of next year. And if it's pretty, it'll be. It's not going to be a dog, but no cut to anybody's dog. But it's not going to be a dog. But it's going to be a driver. It's going to be a driver car. Mm-hmm. And someone may look at it and say, "Well, I would have fixed this or smoothed that up or done that." Okay, good. That's fine. I'm not going to do that because. Look at his face. Ain't a whole lot of time left for the expiration date on this thing, So that's my big one for 24. Now then, in that, and the second part of that is to complete my engine shop here, which I have some machines coming this week. That'll be the completion of that. They're coming this week, this Christmas week here. So then we can do a complete block, complete heads, whole deal right here. So that'll be so cool. I can't wait to come back and check on it then. Please, that'd be great. I would absolutely like to do that. That'd be fantastic. Great. As kind of a thank you for being on this CarCast presented by O'Reilly,
we have a $100 gift card to O'Reilly. So hopefully that can go towards something somewhere in those shop. And then a shirt with a sweet car on it, and just enjoy and have a lot of fun with that.
That you didn't have to. Was that out of your pocket?
No, absolutely not. Beautiful friends at O'Reilly's. Because you are taking our time to do this. So
O'Reilly's, thank you very much. I know you guys have a fantastic company. Not because I'm sitting here with us on this now, but you have a fantastic company, and the person you have here representing you is fantastic also.
Well, so, I appreciate that.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you so much. On end note to that, please make sure that you subscribe to the channel so that you can continue to see all the great stuff that we do, and you don't miss out on that next episode. You never know who's going to be on there. So appreciate you for being on.
Happy to. Very happy to. Thanks for
we are out of here. So bye.
See you guys.
We're done.